Abbiamo tanto da fare e dobbiamo farlo insieme.
From a new past that opens up expensive, high-end culture to young people in France, to the fight for equality between the sexes at the Toronto Film Festival, welcome to Encore. We're starting with an unprecedented close-up of the Pope, as seen through the lens of the three-time Oscar-nominated director Wim Wenders. The German filmmaker brings a film crew inside the Vatican for the first time in history for Pope Francis, a man of his word. The film is out in France this week. I sat down with Wim Wenders at the Cannes Film Festival in May for the premiere.
I have the distinct honor of presenting to you Pope Francis of the Holy See.
Buonasera.
Abbiamo tanto da fare e dobbiamo farlo insieme.
Wim Wenders, congratulations on the film.
Thank you, Ev.
Can you tell us something that happened off camera that was memorable to you with Pope Francis?
Each time we had 4 sessions, we were both exhausted and said, okay, that's it for today. Camera stopped. The Pope got up and with a never-ending energy and enthusiasm went to each and everybody. And sometimes it was 20 people altogether. Looked everybody in the eye, talked to everybody, shook hands with everybody, had a present for everybody, and didn't make a single difference between important people like producers or electricians. And he was just as much there as he was in front of the camera.
Nos dice que no se puede servir a dos señores. O servimos a Dios o servimos a las riquezas.
We're smiling here in the studio at the looks of this car. We are used to the big American limousines, and this is a Mr. Bean car by comparison, and yet it's going to take him around town.
Was there a limit to what you could ask him?
There was no off-limit question. But of course, and I asked him altogether 55 questions. Of course, the film in the end shows a little excerpt of our 8 hours of conversation. Especially I had all this space for all these encounters with other people, for all his presences all over the world in prisoners, in hospitals, in the American Senate, in front of the United Nations. So altogether, our 8 hours shrank into 1 hour.
Wim, you won the Palme d'Or and with Paris, Texas back in 1984. You've made some of the most profound films about America. What do you think of America today?
We share that phenomena not just with America, but we share it with other territories of the world, with powerful nations, with Russia, with China, with Turkey. We share that fate that we have world leaders who are moral dwarfs and who are not capable of, what should I say, empathy, and who are strictly into power. And so each morning I wake up, I'm a little sad that I wake up into this world, but then again, it also empowers many people to want to change this and to want to think of a moral revolution, and that is what we need on our planet. And maybe we go through this dark valley at the time in order to come out of it alive and think of a better world.
One of your masterpieces is Pina, which you started making with the choreographer Pina Bausch before she died. Tell us about this decision to mix technology with cinema and dance.
Technology is only good if it enhances our possibilities. And the 3D technology helped me to finally do justice to the beauty of Pina's art. And that's what technology is good for, to seize things that before cameras couldn't seize. Now you can shoot, anybody today can make a shot from up in the air. You don't need a helicopter anymore. Anybody can buy lots of stuff. Anybody can shoot a movie today, anybody, with technology that is available in your supermarket and can edit it on your computer. So it's become a very democratic medium, which doesn't make it easier to do something that can move the world.
And I know when you were younger, you lived in Paris. You went there to become a painter. Tell us about this time that you used to spend hiding in the Cinémathèque Française and watching free movies.
3, 4, sometimes 5. On weekends, I saw all 5 or even 6. I spent days and days. In the end, I started to write down things in the dark so I would remember. And I just learned. I had a crash course in the history of cinema, and I just learned what that is, that it's a craft. I learned to distinguish styles. I learned what it takes to make a movie. And then I realized this is a better medium than anything I knew before. It is music and architecture and writing and painting and photographer all rolled into one cinema. That's it. That is the best thing you can do. There's nothing better.
Wim Wenders, thank you. Thank you very much. Next, a year after the Me Too movement began, the fight for equality between the sexes is very present at the Toronto Film Festival. Several hundred people gathered for a rally calling for gender parity in the film industry. Keira Knightley talked about women's equality and strong female roles at a press conference for her movie Colette. The historical drama explores feminism, identity and equality, depicting the story of the French novelist whose work is credited to her husband.
I think that there's a hunger right now for strong female voices, and I think that's great. And we just need to make sure that that's not a flash in the pan. That's not because, you know, a load of journalists are going, so how many female directors have we got this year, you know, and all that kind of stuff. We need to actually make sure that it's proper change.
Viola Davis, who stars in Steve McQueen's thriller Widows, called on Hollywood to create narratives that are more inclusive and reflect the changing world. The film features 4 powerful women who team up after the deaths of their criminally connected husbands.
You know, I no longer want to see a movie where the person of color gets introduced in the second scene and they're the bus driver, the social worker, the lawyer, you know, and people are saying, oh, at least they're a part of the cast. They're not a part of the main storyline, but they're there. It's not enough for them to just be there.
And Toronto is on until the weekend. Next, cheap tickets to get young people's bums on seats. A new scheme to open up arts to students is being tested in France. The idea is to subsidise cultural activities in an attempt to form art-loving habits which will last a lifetime. The Culture Pass will provide young people with €500 in vouchers, and they'll be able to choose what they want to do on a mobile app. Olivia Salazar-Winspear has this report.
Emma and Idia are looking for something to do in the neighbourhood. And at the same time, they're testing a new initiative, the Culture Pass, subsidised cultural activities for young people. The application directs them to a rehearsal at the Opéra Comique.
What is it?
It's the Opéra Comique. It looks nice. We can go backstage and see the performers.
They wouldn't be able to go if it wasn't for the Culture Pass.
I don't necessarily do cultural things with my parents. If I'm with friends, we like to go see a film, play some football, because it gets a bit expensive if you're going out to the theater or the opera in a group. So now with Culture Pass, we'll have money in an electronic wallet, so we can go out in Paris together. It's not coming out of our own pockets, because when you're a student, it can be a bit tricky.
This app has really opened things up for me and given me a lot of opportunities to become more cultured. It's also great for my free time, because when you're studying, it's important to have some time to relax and not to just be in front of a TV series at home.
Activities range from theatre performances, taking music or dance classes, buying books, DVDs or cinema tickets. Recipients can even take part in a circus skills workshop or a video games tutorial. The Culture Pass works with a sort of artistic geolocalization tool, showing what's on offer nearby. Users select the things that interest them and even swap tips with each other. The idea is that on his or her 18th birthday, young French people will have access to a budget of €500 to spend on artistic pastimes.
Wow, that's amazing.
For now, it's just at the pilot stage, and the experiences of these first users is helping the Ministry of Culture improve the functionality of the app. This team of developers are taking on board their comments and their critiques as they refine the interface. The idea at the heart of the Culture Pass was a key campaign promise for Emmanuel Macron, making the arts more accessible to young people at a formative age, as they leave education and embrace adult life.
The driving force of my cultural policy is tackling cultural segregation, fighting against inequality in the cultural sector. France is a country with rich and diverse cultural offerings, but not everyone has access to that.
Following these regional tests, the Culture Pass should be rolled out around the country at the beginning of next year.
And a way to get a dose of culture, which is absolutely free, is to watch Encore. You can find more on our website at france24.com, on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. We're going to play out with the latest exhibition at Paris's Pompidou Centre. It's on the work of Austrian sculptor Franz West. Thanks for your company. See you next time.